Should have kept you where you belong. No matter how many gods fall, there will always be another to stand against you.
They will fall as well.
Death of Olympus means the death of us all.
Then prepare for your death, Poseidon.
Should have kept you where you belong. No matter how many gods fall, there will always be another to stand against you.
They will fall as well.
Death of Olympus means the death of us all.
Then prepare for your death, Poseidon. You challenge me, mortal? The god of Olympus? You have disrespected the gods for the last time, Kratos. I will leave nothing of you in my wake.
Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Alright, so that completes the copy. This is data 341. I don't think there was any new emotes or anything. Yep, wrong one. Alright, so that should take a while. Almost got server ready. I think I may have already compiled something similar to this. No, I had prepared one that was almost right. And we just copied it over to play with. Wait, what? Did I get the wrong directories? Surely that will tell me what versions it saw. Bin 342. What's the net final version? This doesn't actually say. Opened data. So we copied bin 342, data 341. Does it server say what it thinks it is? Server using version 342. Oh, you know what? Maybe. I never did like log in. Because I was able to just kind of, I ran it and, well, it just doesn't have a connection. But maybe I already had the binary version, so it didn't update. So I think the data is good. It might just be the binary text. Yeah. So you think you're out of version? No. How about main game? Original binary. We do not seem to have updated properly. Probably I built a version of mine that already had that version, so it didn't think it needed to update. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to assume that that's like onelife.exe and binary.txt only. Because I don't really want to recopy the data again. Okay, so you had no problem. This has no problem. And we had experimental, oh. Why? Do you not have the unlocked scroll? Did I stash that, perhaps? No. Or did I just sort of disable it? I thought I was actually playing with it last week. Ah, okay, I did disable it. Because I had to fix another conflict when I published to publish the public mod. Okay. So we want to go to this. Oh yeah, I also want to work on that. I guess I can flip this back on. You had to do with what? Oh. And we're way back in history. Rebuild that file. It's not really designed around files disappearing on you. I guess they just assume you do a make clean, do that kind of thing. Oh, well. Oh no, things are actually very broken right now. Oh no, it has to, So there's something that happens when you do your first action that makes it realize where the heck it's at. So that might be a little detail to fix up at some point. STG go to. I think Jason's solution to this was just to do it strictly by. Oh, maybe that's what the age starvation thing was. It's at the level you'd be at if you were held. Oh, you don't want to do just held because somebody could be picking you up and not feeding you. Hmm. Well, he did it below a certain level. Made it either on or off. Maybe we should just disable the super urgent mode when being carried. But if you're still going down, you'd still get a ding when it went down. Actually, that's kind of about right, because you wouldn't go down while you're being held. That doesn't work. And that's your food changed flag. So we've got alarm time. There is something here. It's going to be like ×2. Well, there's ×5. Pulse hunger sound, greater than 0.5. Is this an either or thing? Okay, yeah, so that was the original rule. Is just pure binary if it's current age less than 3. We did. We're full. So is this like -1 if nothing's going on? So 0 is full. If you're starving and you're old, you get a hunger slip, but no pulse. If you're in starvation mode and this could almost be well, it's already a pretty big condition. A switch based on just age. Don't play hunger sounds. I mean, that's almost more this, really. So, for everybody else who's not old, if we are in outright starvation time, if we are at 0, if we're at 0, we don't do anything. There's hungry, starvation alarm times 0.5. So what did I calculate this as? Starvation time. It's the amount of time we've got. Starvation alarm time. I thought I calculated that to... Right, there's ding on down, and there's ding, 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 pulse. So that's currently at this. So 45 for ding, half of that, 22 for pulse. Huh. Well, I actually want to take a break. I'll be back in a minute or two. Okay, there are these guys. Whoa! Shit.
A little bit here.
Here comes the venerable Otto. Excited. Otto, do you have any words to say? All right. Everything's good. All the check marks are checked. So now we just need to open the door. Okay. Door's opening. Retract the gantry. I always forget to retract the gantry. And... oh, nice. The fuel fended to space. So far everything worked. Here we go. T-minus 3, 2, 1. We're on.
And we're back. I was just wondering if I actually want to try and... well, it's like most of these aren't too bad. Alright, so that's a one-off full check. I think we only do that one once. We've got starvation alarm time twice. We've got hungry. We've got... and they only kind of appear once, but I still have to think about what they mean. I guess he uses chart for things, doesn't he? How much of these only appear once? I want to be able to just kind of read stuff off here. So we've got full, we've got hungry. Hungry is based on ×2. We've got starving. And what do you call this? Because there's the level at which you ding. There's hungry slip, there's ding on decrement. There is imminent starvation. There's starvation time. Oh, no, these are all less than or equal to. This is saying... it would just inverse that condition. So we've got food changed. So if we say... if full, if this is what I was thinking. If you've done Starving and Swan Song, this really shouldn't be an issue. So then we've got Hungry. And you are not urgent. Right, so the greater than 1 here is really to say if we are... No. Why the greater than 0? Oh, you know what? This doesn't run any code if it gets here. So it probably leaves Impulse Hunger sound on. Why did the greater than 0? Well, originally 0 was dead. Then that got changed. So music off, hunger slip visible. If it gets to 0, it stays wherever it was. Which, if it was urgent or 0... Oh, that's greater than 1. Oh. Did I leave that in? I feel like the only thing this could possibly be saving us from is like a weird negative. I feel like I want to invert this. Greater than 1 is 2 plus. And really, Less than or equal to 2 is one of the things that was kind of causing me troubles as a baby. There's probably some point at which you want to say, you know, you're on your last legs here. Well, no, if I've got really good time, it doesn't need to be urgent, I don't think. If anything, I'd want to say starving would do that. Now, it used to be 4 that would do this. But what was really bothering me was this. So this is the pulse. So others just for temperature updates. And speed changes. Well, you would never be held at, like, 0. Now, I was really trying to replace some of these limits. We should do this as less than 1 if you're actually... If you're actually at 0, you've lost any sense of how close you are. But I think you might want some more... If you're going down slow, you kind of want some warning that it's coming. And I'm going to have to review... Where did I leave my hunger setting? So we need to look at a variety of things now. hunger. Didn't I find something that was like, oh, it was Force Eve Age. So we can test our baby stuff. Uh-oh. Oh, I did misspell it. Schwan schwang. I guess for rapidly going through things, the cold is actually better. I'm going to want to check out fires at some point. Okay, well the server calculated 20 seconds to go. We're a little bit behind that as far as urgent mode. I might need to lose a little bit here. Didn't I have a spot where I was doing fire stuff? It was up. Well, actually, yes, the clothes are relevant because the situation you often have is fully clothed baby sitting by a fire. No. Now we're going to want to go down a little bit to kind of get into baby zone. Okay, we're going down on dings. We're on decrements. Well, that makes that a little bit hard. Okay, so I think I did maybe put in a... Did I put it at 1 bar? Or did I put it at 0? Okay, so it's not forced at 1. Which is kind of what we were going for. It's like if you're being watched, then at 0, you know, we really can't track exactly how close you are to death anymore. I want to tweak something. Yeah, you're probably okay while being carried. Now, actually, just fixing not going crazy, because you'll never go down. But this time might still be within scope. So does a live object tell you if it's being carried? Held by adult. It's not a guarantee, but most of the time. So now we're getting into, we have urgent time, we have no food left. What else do we have? We have this is turning into a big complicated condition. Imminent. Imminent. Well, there's also imminent. Imminently. Which says A-N-E-N. What was that? A-N-E-N. So it's urgent. Well, the starvation imminent goes in with the times here. But these are like kind of other conditions. That's a little weird. It's urgent if we have a very short time to starvation. And we want to say that this is the thing that is turned off by being held. we always do the decrement dings if we're under time. Or even if we're just kind of getting low, which is kind of the issue when you get really well clothed. You don't necessarily get the warning dings very early. And that kind of seems like you go immediately into, oh, I've got a minute and a half. Now, problem. Well, this is where I would do an adult and a baby. Which means I need to change settings again so you can actually have somebody held. First Eve age. Alright, so you will benefit from the fire as well. Oh, this is a... That's why we in fact have fire here. No, I don't need to do anything with that yet. Oh, nope. The baby ratio is so low that we, Oh, you know what? I probably have a Force All Players Eve, so I could get all the super young people with no storage. No, Force All Players Eve isn't on. Okay. Seems like we used to always get a baby first. I gotta set it somewhere closer, but this is just happened to be where I was when I first did this. No, you don't actually need to be in VOG mode. So we're gonna need 2, and we're gonna need 3, it looks like. Oh, and now you're a baby. I mean, I guess that's really just for standard rate. You're actually going down pretty slow now. Alright, so you're starving. I guess the thing we're concerned about as a special case is, and actually this would almost be better if, and now why is your camera not going that way? Maybe there's something weird with it not being full screen. This one was actually fine though. Okay, so that also filled us up. Right, no, it's when we're like at 2 and it won't actually feed us. Yeah, but the camera seems kind of screwed up too, so I need to figure out why that's not working either on babies or on... So this would be if we were like at 2 and maybe it would have to be going down faster. Okay, so that went super urgent. But that actually did feed me. So I guess I'd have to be at 3? Not entirely. Because if you look out at a distance, you do lose track of what's going on around you. And I don't know if you can even get low enough in the time you can be picked up. Oh. The no feed must be another low pop thing? Or maybe it's only babies at 3. Now we're probably going to have to go through a bunch of Eves again. Yep, we got a baby. Okay, so it's by age. So I need to get you down a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. There's something weird with my secondary windows here. I don't know if it has to do with getting picked up as a baby or what. Okay, so at 2 you can be fed. This means the worst you could be while being held was 3. Well, I mean, that's a minute. I don't know what the actual time is, but we're not going down. We're not in super starving mode. Okay, so that was like super starving, and then we got low enough to get fed. So maybe it works. I've obviously got something wrong with my camera control here, though. I don't know if it has to do with getting picked up or what. This is mine, so I'll get out of here. This needs you go to. All right, so this should. Well, it's a little project. Hopefully I won't need hierarchy, but Freeview is a little screwy right now. So what is going on with our second window here? It seemed fine in the first window, so is your map offset weird? No, that should be fine. Hey, maybe the map offset is weird. Target object position. But I was moving around, so that should have updated my position appropriately. That sets the limits. All right, those are initial values. So that was the old code. And it was just width and height. That might explain where I got my left and right backwards. I forgot what everything I was doing for debugging. I guess it's probably just printing some numbers out. So is this a second client issue? Is this a baby got picked up issue? Nope, I didn't watch who I was logging in. Oh. I'd swear I had this working the other day. Is this a certain player? That would be very weird. Of course, now you're a baby, but you're also screwed up. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, maybe I have to move far enough to get a map load. Yeah, well, that was a reset. Well, she'll be dead soon. Also, this is fine now that we've reset. Segmentation fault. I don't have any weird hunger settings on right now. I thought that was something when I turned up the hunger values. But I mean, the main server is fine. So it's not a general error. Yeah, so if I log in as an adult and move around, it's fine. So it might be that like maybe my default values for the range are messed up. Hungry already. Actually, for cameras work, I should probably turn my hunger back down. Yeah, so you seem kind of screwed up. What if we force a map load? Oh, we're moving still. We're still moving. Oh, I guess we're still in run mode. Okay, so the issue seems to be like the default values we gave to some of our range stuff, or something else. And I should turn this back up. Oh, is this maybe in the wrong coordinates? No, because there's map D again. Oh, do some of these need to be negative? So that's going to be like a point. Oh, they're left and right limits. So something's weird when we first start up. And this is just kind of a shot in the dark. Wait a minute, how do I use those? Well, yeah, that's in grid coordinates, so I can't necessarily use view size. Wait, no. If those are in coordinates, so that is the point. Okay, so these are limits in amount of space. Those are the things we're calculating there are coordinates, not amounts. And I guess you could do this as like plus and minus a half. Or the center plus and minus a quarter gets you half of it in the center. Right, we went back in time again. Okay, well that's still screwed up. How is it screwed up though? Because if we're limiting that to map D or 0, is map D not the same as mmap D? It's sure initialized there. Target object pause, map offset. And this all works fine once you've presumably run... Oh, we have to have received a set of data. Oh, maybe the problem is there's an initial value of the map offset, which is like just 0 or something. And that calculates a move from it. And in the base program, we move some non-existent data over by an arbitrary amount. And it's a no-op. But that pushes our limits around. Well, the limits should still be expanded by our current position. So what we're really interested in, that's kind of saying that it thinks in that mode that we can't go there. Actually, we can't do this. All right, %d to %d and %d to %d. Actually, this is going to be bottom to top, isn't it? Yeah. I guess what we really care about is what does the rest of the program end up using? All right, so our initial value. So our first update is negative 1110. So 1648, 48, wait. That's not a good start. Yeah. Now, when they were all the same, a point essentially. I don't know why that wouldn't have made it okay-ish. Oops. We ended up in the jungle. And of course now I've moved, but... that seemed okay. Well, that's... Oh, I haven't actually got... Huh. That's significant overage, though. $16.48, $16.48, $12.48, $17.63. Got a move of -4. And 15 down. And then we, presuming we got new data that filled in the other stuff. Left and right. So this is of the chunk we just got. So we moved it over, we overlaid the new stuff. It still shouldn't have left us with a big... Oh, the area that was showing up as visible is where it calculated the emptiness that would have been visible before the first chunk and the first move would have moved to, which would normally be okay. So, should this go back to, it's just the center. And there's no space there. So when we move that, we move a point that represents nothing, and then overlay the new stuff with that. But this is what we had before, and there seemed to be some problems. Well, okay, so we've got that. And missing the moon. Hello. How's it going? Hope you're enjoying your ramen. What were you doing today? All right, so that's fine, that's fine. That's all messed up. Just chilling. Tutorial timeline stuff. Okay. Other times, yeah, it's changed a lot. So what happened log-wise there? Oh, okay. Well, that's it's not what we wanted. Where do we get 320 from? Oh, times 5, not 0.5. That would be a problem. So the game itself is by Jason Rohr. It is like a multiplayer civilization building where players are born to each other. It gets a little weird, and okay, and I'm still managed to messing up my coordinates. So you start off as an Eve in the wilderness, and you can eventually build up other stuff, of which I have some things that I've mostly spawned in with the God mode, essentially, just because I'm testing things. So you start getting like steam water pumps, and I'll turn off because some of my control mods are off, but that gets you a primitive lathe. You start off, making kilns and things. Yeah, it's got some of the same perspective going on. But, I mean, really the thing that interests me about it is the fact that there are a lot of people, and your kid and your mom and your brother are all other players trying to kind of figure it out and survive. There is a fork called 2 Hours, 1 Life that tends to be a lot more of the people who didn't like the social aspect of that as much. And, they often kind of go off and make their own private little towns and maybe play with the people they pick. But I'm always interested in sort of how things develop over time. So, like, did I keep that window? No, I didn't keep that window. I went and took a bunch of map data and made a thing that lets you kind of see how the towns are developing. So this is what it turns into in later stage. I mean, some of them are social in small groups, but the game has changed a lot, and a lot of people didn't like the changes, which is one of the dangers of a game that's... I mean, he decided not to call it early access, but it's undergoing that much change over time. So the problem is you get people in, the ones who like the game stay, the ones who don't like the game leave. The game changes, the people who liked what it was are now unhappy, and the people who might have liked it have already left. So it's a little bit of an awkward situation. But I think 2 Hours forked off pretty early. I know that they added just like a ton of content and stuff. So some of it was that. Yeah, so you get all of these kind of things, and if we go back to a previous time period, first we have to find civilization. We actually know the seed. Were there no? There's one. Were there no bell towers? So you can see it a little bit more in context. So, I mean, these are pretty typical. Well, I mean, most of the time you're running around in this kind of perspective, and then this is a bunch of map data. So initially I was just doing. That's not even an arc. Well, the early arcs may have been before map data. So I was just doing this level of stuff, and then you had the the monuments, you could kind of figure out the stuff. And then lots of things changed, and one of the things that changed, we got the map data. Well, there's actual size, and then there's actual size. So, actually, probably a better one might be, where is... If we go back, not days. I forget where my calculated map was. What age was that? That might be it. Where I was actually pre-calculating the map. So one of the technical answers is that it's about that wide. In practice, though, no one has ever gotten that far. If we look at, well, we wouldn't get all the data for an entire arc. If we just go, and we sometimes we'll do like around 2 days. Yeah, I mean he just used the technical limits of some computer numbers to like be the initial value. This is where people were born over the past 2 days. So most of the activity is down in this space. And we could do this for some of the other maps. We can see the biomes. This might actually be beyond where we have map data. Yeah, so this is getting, actually, because I'm still at this point. So the map needs to catch up. So you can kind of see how those map sizes compare to a town, and then this is, you know, people weren't living here like all at once. At any given moment, we've got, you know, usually 4 towns these days. Basically so that you could always expand in any direction. There was a brief period we were living in a very tiny box. So if we go back, well, I'm going to have to be able to see it, but... And that life data is not appropriate. Some of these early, very tiny box. So for a time, we were working this amount of space. And, you know, this allowed people to do some big engineering projects. This isn't even the biggest one with the map center. But if we look around here, we should find, like here's kind of a corner town that was fairly well developed. Yeah, I think there was, like Civcraft was a big thing for a while. That had more of a player permanence type of thing. People have very, very short lives here, so... Yeah, I mean, the focus lately has been on, like, you know, very, very tight survival. So a lot of a life is making food and trying to you know, get water to make food. Maybe doing well upgrades. And holy cow! Nix the snow, how's it going? What were you doing today? As always, yeah. I will be back to code shortly, but people had some questions about the game I've been hacking on here. So I've been trying to give some context, but it's hard to give context because it's like a massively multiplayer game. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I've contemplated like turning this thing into a map editor or something, but that would be a big project that probably not a whole lot of people would use. I used to. I did a whole lot of mods for it. I kind of drifted off at some point. I actually just saw that they're doing a big top player tournament right now. I saw that notice pop up. But yeah, if anybody is curious about the game, I will be playing it in a couple of hours here after my lunchtime. Well, actually, it's almost my lunchtime now, so might be in 2 hours or so. Yeah. Okay. Uh, I would like to see if I can find a better initial condition for my scroll, and at some point, I actually want to work on a pointer controlled scroll or screen camera. But I do want to have lunch at some point here, so I'm not going to be on too much longer. Yeah, since well, I mean that was just the screen edge going off. So we were actually looking at the weirdness of our initial conditions. I actually think there's like a disconnect command that might serve for this. Oh, but these. So here's one thing. If we are connecting to multiple lives, which is not what we're doing in current conditions, we're going to need to reinitialize these. Yeah, good night. And at this context, we'll actually have mmapd. I wonder if that's not where the map actually ends up. Okay, so in this initial condition, that sort of makes sense. That doesn't make sense. But maybe that's where it moved from, and it's even though there was nothing there, it moved it all over. So 32, 32, 048, 347. We did a move by negative 43, negative 29, and that I could see that growing as if it's just 0 and then we get some offset. Maybe I just need to track my first map update. And I think there might already be some code that does that. And not actually shift things over in that case. First, well, where is map left limit? So this is where we're doing map updates. Map chunk. Maybe it's first map chunk. Or first map chunk received. Using first chunk center as our global offset. So this has already happened. Using center 0 as global offset. Not map global offset set. So if we and that applies that offset. Okay, so we did not actually keep. That. So, but this is before we've applied set offset or calculated our move. Well, this is not set. So that's based around 0. That's these are buffer coordinates. So it's almost like I need a separate first chunk. First server message. Or was that going to be like a bit for map and a bit for something else? Yeah, that's 2 bits. First map chunk just received. Where are you? Your step. Wait, it's not 1. So this is, we've gotten the data. Is this downstream from receiving the map data? Aha. Okay, but this is like way down from where I was doing my calculations. So on the first map chunk, we don't want to use any of the previous stuff. That would just kind of get a hard reset to the current bounds. Well, I can still check that status thing. So I think what that means is we just don't even process this. Oops. Did not copy. Except we want to say if it is received. Oh, we moved over right away. Yeah, so something's off there. $32, $32, $16.32, $17.32. So maybe my left and right calculations are off. So you want left, right. This could be a case where I've got my bottom and tops messed up again. All right, 132. New data is 1648, 1747. So why are our limits not increasing? That's saying, that's extending it. If left is less than left limit, move it over. If right is greater than right limit, 48 should be greater than 32. So we printed the numbers. The numbers don't seem to be off. And I guess maybe if we're, yeah, these aren't. I was thinking in terms of a position that could a point that could be either off the left or off the right, but this could potentially be both. Because they're just independent boundaries that are being pushed out. And I guess in a typical scenario, it would probably be one or the other. But we're starting off at essentially a point as our known area. Okay, we haven't jumped around. That's touching the edge. Okay, so our upper boundary could maybe do with like a -1. So this is for new map data. And that might apply to some of these others too. So top. Top is a positive, so you would be -1. Bottom is a lower boundary. So +1 would actually be inset? Or maybe I would do that actually on the assignment and say, okay, well, there's our line. We actually want to go a little bit in from there. And then this still works as we move, hopefully. You do sometimes get weird corners. Yeah. I already did 2 blocks that were over a little bit. All right. These actually are no different. I was experimenting with some other things. Nah. I could do a little macro for that, but there's only 4 of them. Compile check. And I left a bunch of debugging in. All right, so that is a system that constrains camera movement. Depending on if we're moving or not. That map left limit. We have a chunk. That we does the edge push. And I had another thing, which I think I might want to like kind of reintegrate and rename this. But I guess we're keeping it separate for now. Yep. Conflict. Which probably isn't too surprising because I was touching screen code. No, this is just another thing that was adding stuff around here. And that was it. Oh no, that was at that patch. Oh, yeah, that includes this. Right, and we have got to add. Now, this is probably the more expected stuff, where we touched a bunch of the same things. All right, so looks like I had completely unlocked it for a little bit here. And I also changed some stuff. Or I flipped around my my limits. This is kind of a weird patch here. So I had to unlock my limits to be able to move around, but I've now changed that so that these should not be as big of a deal. So the question is, does this mess up? Okay, so that did include the removals. Negative view right, negative view right. Oh, right, it was view left right limit. So that actually sort of was the right thing there. Maybe? What do I get for not looking closely at it? Alright, so we want view right. Negative view right, view left, negative view top, view bottom, view bottom. Refresh it such that it is. A whole bunch of things changed in the intervening patches. Now this is a very incomplete sort of test right now. So it only does this. And it doesn't seem to be interacting with our limits at all. Maybe during move. Oh, you died. Yeah, so there's this weird thing where we've still got some like movement code, but we're also like locked to the pointer. Okay, so whatever I'm doing with the pointer is not using view limits at all. Maybe there's some condition that's saying, well, the screen's not moving, so we don't need to apply any limits. Duh. Don't adjust camera. Camera follows object. Okay, so there's the moving case. Oh. No, I think this is something he turned off. Maybe. Oh, I think I maybe just set this to try and keep it from messing me up. Anyway, I might still need to do something like that. But I may have to set up something, or we recognize we're in this camera mode, where we still apply screen limits, but don't like try to recenter it. Yeah, so it's like, hey, we're supposed to be looking at a character here. We're looking at a character. Now, screen edge push used to allow me to go beyond that. But maybe it's because my cursor was like sitting there. So what was the new stuff? Last screen view center is resetting things. So maybe last screen view center has something to do with it. Or the way I'm doing sets. So is there something else that has affected my centering ability here? Oop. Oh, okay, so we missed... Well, you're just not helpful, are you? Just a continuation line. So that's able to move the screen and have it stay where you put it. I think there was originally a space here before too. Lost that one. Okay, and that is the part where it's flying off because why? Because the pointer move is in screen space. So we're always getting something that's relative to screen space. But without the set view center position, I don't know if it actually goes there or reevaluates the correct position. Okay, so that freezes it without moving anything. Oh, so maybe that was actually a screen edge push that was triggering off of the things flying off there. So should move camera shuts off the limitation, but it doesn't do any limitation then. I might actually want to hide the... Oh, right. Okay, so this was... We were doing... Turn this off. We can go around, but we can go off the edge. So the cursor is shaky while doing that. I might want to see if I can turn off the cursor. I don't know if that's an exposed function, though. Okay, so that can look around, but it's completely unlimited, and the cursor is a little... Yeah, you can see it move and then move back. So should move camera does a lot of stuff. I'm using that for an alternate mode. I'm using that for auto run. It's flipping the flag. Screen target position equals... So this is throwing out. See, there's this. This is probably it. It's running. That screen lock flag. Yeah, so this is the main function of should move camera. Which is a flag in the base game. It's like, so I kind of want to rename it. Can identify like screen. Well, this is So this is like the automatic camera movement, but we need to do something where we're doing movement separate from limits. Well, the limit is what was controlling the framing. So that's true. So maybe I need to take 2 levels of limits. Okay, so we apply this stuff at 22,593. So this is below there. Last screen view center, last screen view center, last screen view center. So is the other stuff actually affecting screen target position? This is limiting screen center player offset. Oh. So maybe what I actually need to do is flip this. Well, I have to calculate this. Could be the tricky bit. So this code is already false. There's already... is this setting it? This is doing some stuff that... Oh, this is this the wall moving? Yeah, this is the wall moving, which is... We kind of want to keep that. So that'll get skipped. And those are global variables there. So I've got something that works, but it doesn't work with my current camera limiting. And also, what does that mean when we start hitting the edge and we're doing relative motion? What the pointer will get moved back. This is player offset from what? Target object position. Target pause is rounding that for any fudge. So we would want to apply a delta to the screen center player offset? We're not applying a delta, we're doing a hard set of screen view center. So set mouth is in screen coordinates. This is in world coordinates. Can we apply the diff from last screen view center? Well, if the screen doesn't quite catch up. That might not be good. Well, what would that look like? Also, we don't have our set view center position. So if we're based on that, well, I might have to, when I get this into a proper toggle, like record the mouse position when we started doing it. And keep resetting there. Or something. This is like player offset. Yeah. Screen center player offset. And I keep forgetting to use my marks. Of course. Screen center player offset. Let's see. So if the in was larger than last screen view center, we want to move it over. This might be a thing where, like, last screen edge, I should be like recording a delta to be applied elsewhere. Okay, so that's being like wholesale recalculated or somewhere. That's having no effect. Is this all in some conditional that, well, I mean, we applied the screen edge. Oh, hey, look at that, we already got a delta. Yeah, all it's doing is applying it. Well, maybe it gets reset above here and then adjusted. Although this kind of feels like a piece of state that's progressing forward. Oh, but that's move camera. Weird. So apparently I have to subtract the delta. Oh, because maybe the offset is like to the other side of the character or something. Okay, so that actually... Stop moving. That actually... I mean, well, the cursor movement's a little weird, but... And, like, you can't move the cursor while you are moving. mean, the intent kind of is that when you're standing still, you can look around. I mean, I guess if you walked while looking into the distance, then anything that happened to you would be your own fault. So that's this thing taking over. Actually, that might just be reapplying these limits while moving. Although it's also doing things to the offset. Okay, so we can still look around. Yeah, that's a little weird. Also, it's adjusting the offset while moving. In this case, I would actually expect it to not auto-adjust, which would become weird because normally we walk and it adjusts the camera for you. Which actually works pretty good for the most part. It looks like it pushes a little bit farther out, and was like maybe counting on the limits to stop you at some point. Yeah, so if I was in this mode, I would want to run to the pointer, or to the screen, and then push it out if we kept running. Would that be like an if on screen? Well, no, this is eventually gonna. Wow. I was thinking this would eventually be a toggle. It might be interesting. Yeah, no, I don't think I can do precision work with the screen moving around like this. I mean, it's kind of an interesting idea. Yeah, so this is based on our position on screen, so we have to be... Actually, isn't there like a software pointer option or something? Oh, I seem to have not saved. Because that would, if so, that would give me a hint about how to make the pointer invisible while it's going to be bouncing around. Interesting how the drawn one. I guess they're different. And then even if it's drawn, we can still leave the window fine. Okay. So we're gonna have to interact with that. That might be entirely a minor gems thing, though. So if that's the settings page, and that's action performed. Well, there's a scale. There's a choice list. Oh, system is what he calls it. Cursor mode set. Set cursor mode. Get cursor mode. Minor gems, settings manager. Oh, there might not be a none? I guess that's a possibility. Eager to give the follow. System emulated both. Oops. This is game.h. Oh, this has multiple implementations. So, well, game STL. Default, set cursor visible true. Get cursor mode. Emulated cursor, emulated cursor. STL show cursor. See, this entire game might be only STL? I'm not sure. But it's definitely the only thing that implements the cursor stuff. I guess this is only the native cursor, though. Draw emulated cursor. If cursor mode is greater than 0, and this is in game STL, so this is going to be like our frame update function or something. Draw scene. Does game Okay. Override set cursor visible. So we would set it to system cursor and then set cursor visible false. And get cursor mode is probably like the system setting. You could like remember that at start. Get cursor mode, set cursor mode 0, set cursor visible false. Actually, that's also an interesting question. Does set mouse interact with emulated cursor? I guess it's only visibility, so he's probably using some similar stuff for position. Oh. So I don't know if... Yeah, I guess. So actually, just using emulated cursor would kind of have the desired effect of it's not bouncing around. And I could just say, hey, use emulated cursor. Or I highly recommend emulated cursor. Well, I mean, I think Jason already put distance limits on kills because of zoom mods. Now, screen lock, yeah, now you can't see it doing anything. So we just have to figure out what we want to use as our free look key. I might want to do some kind of acceleration too. And then the other thing I wanted to do... Alright, settings page. Is that B? All of this will mess us up. I need to get an if statement around it or something. I guess this is huh. It feels like I can move the pointer faster here. Of course, this is pointer movement. We're like capturing a delta, and then maybe all the panning is making us run slower. I mean, it feels like, you know, if I'm in here, I can get around all over the place. And maybe some of that is just the disorientation of moving around. So maybe I really do just need to get the key hooked up. So I can compare them like back and forth. Or maybe there's something in the player center offset. Okay, so I guess it's a little disorienting when going in and out of the window. But most of the time you should be playing in window. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if something with set mouse. I guess that's fairly fast. Oh, right, and I've got it movement disables it right now. Something with set mouse is preventing us from achieving cursor acceleration. But if I don't do that, the cursor goes outside of the window, and you're not doing anything with it anymore. I can try to implement my own acceleration. All right, so far, well, this plays nicer with all of our other screen position control stuff than just outright centering. If we do this center position, that's completely divorced from our player offset, which is what we're currently using for all of our bounds checking. Now, I guess we could do a 2-level bounds check, where you do screen center player offset based on screen center player offset. Would that work? Well, no, the whole point of that is that we can look farther beyond the player, so maybe that wouldn't work. And then we need something. Do I have anything else disabled right now? Well, that's diff. No. Oh, I haven't really solved the build problem with this, which is going to be the big problem. I guess I could patch the generated make file to avoid having to touch minor gems. Or I guess I could patch minor gems before configuration. But that turns it into a build process thing instead of a patch thing. All right, so this is when this needs to happen. So it's like we could record this delta information for later. And well, this is just like binary flags, which we're then modifying by speed. Which I could make this into like a camera move. And then that section would just export a camera move. Well, that doesn't necessarily handle the reset. I mean, I guess you move. But that's been kind of a problem with this over scroll anyway. Shoot, it's getting late. So what if we not screen edge push? Should move camera. What's our key layout? Did I put you in games? New, was it extra programs? All right, so we've got tab, Control, Alt, Shift is used for other things. G is the backpack keys, move key, move key. I mean, something like spacebar would be good, but I think screen lock is still a good thing when you're just trying to do stuff. You could do C for camera. It's not going to be a super easy key to get to. But as a temporary thing, oh, I do need yeah, screen edge push. Or that turns should move camera false. And then there should be a key up somewhere down here. And this always does, even when you're talking, apparently. And this doesn't solve the view reset problem, but that might be okay for today. All right, and then I would actually want to probably, if this works, I would actually want to turn off screen push. Even though I'm reusing some of its mechanics, I think would be fine. How about... Actually, a hard set to 0. Might be jarring. Is it maybe screen center player offset? So you would, So what you'd actually want to do there is change the boundaries you're using. Aha. So that is a target position. Which might actually explain some of the, like the lag, I feel. And then it's I'm moving a target position. Well, actually, you are seeing some bump in even the emulated pointer when it's up against a wall. But that springs back kind of nice. All right, that needs settings and keys and all kinds of like finalization stuff. Oh, and we have to solve mouse.o problem. And there's the extra variable. I mean, maybe that works as a separate thing. Well, it relies on the relaxed boundary limits that I ended up implementing as part of screen edge push, because it was already doing boundary stuff for me. Anyway, that's something I can play with today. See how it works. And I'm gonna go eat lunch and be back in, I don't know, an hour-ish. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Missing the Moon Next Snow for bringing friends. People who subscribe and all the people who host. Let me see if I can recommend anything. This is when I'm usually on, so I guess that's going a little late-ish. Man, maybe I've fallen behind on my coding streams. Well, I'm not sure what he's doing, but Stapleberg is doing some kind of coding, and it's somebody I've enjoyed in the past. So if there's someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.